Hey, welcome to my live stream here. I wanted to get on and talk about something that came up. Last week, I did a live about three mistakes that artists do when they're pricing their art or they're putting their work out there. And one of them is undervaluing their own art. So, uh, today what we wanted to talk about was what to do when other people undervalue your art. What sort of solutions we can have for that. So my friend Jill Rumley is with us today, and so she's going to help us discuss that here. I remember when I was doing the Carmel Art Festival a couple of weeks ago, I was looking at the art. We kind of all sort of stood by our art, trying to gauge interest in it. And so you kind of eavesdrop on other people's conversations while that's happening. And so one of the things I heard was a woman who walked by and she was like, I'd buy some of this art for like $250 max, even though our paintings were going for like minimum like $300 to $400. So um, my thing was, I wasn't sure if she, could afford to buy higher and just didn't have the money for it, or that's all she saw the art being worth. We can have some ideas of how to make our art worth more. I know, Jill, you have a story that came up for you about the same topic.
Yeah. Sorry. I think I'm a little bit delayed from you, so
Sure.
I'm here. Yeah, a couple weeks ago, I was doing a joint art show with some other artists, and it was kind of interesting because I had some note cards for sale, and these note cards are prints of some of my original artwork. And I had a set of four in a pack for $10.
Hmm.
And this gentleman came up and he picked them up and he was looking at them and turning them over. And I said to him, I said, well, if you're interested in seeing all four cards, feel free to open up the pack and take them out and look. And he said, no, I'm good. And I said, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so he kept looking at them. And then he says to me, how can you charge $10 for four cards?
Hmm.
And I just looked at him like, 250 each.
Yeah.
I mean, 250 for, a card is not that expensive.
Right.
I didn't say that, but I just said 250 each, and he said, huh, and then tossed them down and walked away.
Yeah.
And yeah, the interesting thing about that, the second half of the story is one of the other artists that was showing with me comes running up to me and she's like, do you know who that was? And I said, no. And she's like, oh, he's some famous abstract artist in the area.
Mm,
And I looked at her and I said, wow. I said, well, he's not very nice.
right.
And, in that moment, I stuck to my guns. I didn't say, oh gosh, am I charging too much for
Right.
this? And I didn't get worried. I was confident that the price I'm asking for my work is justified.
Right. Yeah. Um, yeah, even just like breaking down what it actually costs to create a card, like you have to factor in the cost of printing them or getting them shipped or whatever from it. So I mean, $10 for 4 pack cards still sounds kind of like a bargain to me anyway. So yeah. Um, yeah, it's just also a matter of like you're putting yourself into the art, even if it is just a printed piece of whatever kind of card stock that it might be, it's still your imagery on it and probably the lowest barrier to entry to owning an image of yours to take home. So in that way, yeah,
Yeah, and it's original.
yeah, exactly.
It's completely original. You're not going to see this. You're not going to see these cards anywhere else. And yeah, it's kind of an interesting thing. And yeah, I mean, the overhead to getting them printed and putting them together, and the manpower and getting the plastic wrap, and even sitting at an event all weekend, there's a cost to that.
Hmm.
And yeah, and if you go to like Target, I mean, a greeting card is like $6.
Is that right? Jeez, I didn't know they were that expensive now.
Yeah, they can be really expensive. I mean, you might be able to get one for like five, but they're like $5, $6, $7
Oh
now.
wow. Huh.
Yeah.
I'll just keep going to Trader Joe's for my greeting cards, and they're a little less expensive there.
There you go.
um, so yeah, there's just a couple ideas that I had for when you get tested in that way, I guess, of how people might see your work and be like, well, why is it worth that much? So, how do we ensure that our work is being looked at as the prices that we deserve for them? So one of them is the presentation. Your cards, you probably had them wrapped, or that they were, just like four loose cards that you're handing out or something like that. There's probably something you did there to increase the presentation there.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that way, and then obviously if it's a painting, you got to frame it well. Make sure that it's a decent looking frame. Even if it's not a framed painting, same thing. Like a lot of people put the unframed work in like those plastic sleeves, and then they put a cardboard backing behind it, or something like that, where the package is not just strewn together in a box, everything like that. Another one is having a strong brand around your art, and that's also goes into presentation. That's definitely one of the bigger things. It goes into the presentation of it, but also how you present yourself as an artist, and all the visual cues around your work that present yourself in a way that shows how valuable you are. You can keep a consistent sort of look and message around your art and your business, and that therefore shows people like, okay, you have something going on here, and you care enough to present it in a way that makes people be invited in to take a better look at it.
I had an
Uh-huh.
idea that just popped into my head.
Sure.
So I do a lot of art shows with my art guild, and one of the
Mm-hmm.
things that I think really helps with the presentation, especially if you're a solo artist or doing a joint show with someone else, is having not professionally, but a professional looking tag that is printed out, not handwritten,
Yeah.
so that it's clear, and and that the description is clear, the medium, the size, and the artist's name, and then the price if that's what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
rather than just having something written on a scrap of paper and taped on the wall, which I've seen done.
Yeah.
But I think just, having all these little clean details, just like, you're doing a purposeful presentation, and that you look like you're put together and that you're organized. You have business cards, you have flyers or postcards that describe your art.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that is definitely part of presentation and branding and all that as well. And another one that I was thinking of, that when you hear it, you'll probably think it's very obvious, but price it so that it is looked at as valuable. I mean, it's so common to see artists not adhere to that. People get insecure and see that their work maybe isn't selling the way they like, so they think, okay, well, that means I just gotta bring my price down, and therefore that will make it sell more. And from my experience, that's not usually the case. I don't know how it is for you. Yeah.
Oh, I was just going to tell you, this painting behind me,
Mm-hmm.
when I first, it's 24 inches by 24 inches. And when I first listed it for sale, I listed it for, I think 500.
Mm-hmm.
And for a painting that size, I don't think that that's, unreasonable.
No,
And
not at all.
it's been in a lot of
Uh-huh.
shows and people love it, but it doesn't sell. And so my last show, I put a price tag of 2,000 on it.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? It still didn't sell. But it didn't sell at 500 and it didn't sell at 2,500, but that doesn't mean that it should be priced at 500, It's I still got the same feedback and the same comments, and oh, I wish I could afford that.
Yeah.
I love it, the same things at 500 or 2,500. And I agree with you totally too, because you want to present yourself as a serious artist, not a hobbyist.
Yeah.
Because a lot of hobbyists price their art at the 250, 300 range, at least out here, in Colorado.
Uh-huh.
That's what a lot of them do. And we have some artists that we consider more professional, and their artwork's over 1,000,
Mm-hmm.
even in the shows with everybody else showing at 250. And
Right.
I think it also shows how serious you are, with your art, that you're in it as a business person, you're making a living at this.
Right.
And I think it notches you up a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Just getting comfortable around that price that you set. You yourself, as an artist, should know what you need to make from your art if you're a professional artist. So, holding to that line and being confident about that, and also ways to be confident about it is working on steps 1 and 2, presentation and the strong brand will help you stay confident. Internally, you're not quite that confident yet. You can at least stand behind, okay, well, at least I know my frames and my packaging are great. So that also will help you stay kind of grounded in your how you need to price it in order to keep selling your work. So yeah, I don't know if you have any other ideas for making sure that people see the value in your work.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I think, also too, if you're at the show with your art, be sure to talk to people about your vision.
Mm,
Let them get to know you a little bit. Just, don't walk up to them and say, "Hey, here's a painting. It's $2,500. You're going to buy it,
right.
right?" You don't do that.
Yeah.
You start a conversation with them. If you're at an event, oh, like in your Carmel, say, "Oh, are you visiting Carmel, or, did you just come down here for the show? What do you do? Who are you? Do you live locally? Are you visiting?" Because Carmel is a tourist town. So, if you start a conversation with them, then it puts them at ease a little bit and lets them know that you're human. Say, "Hi, I'm Jill Rumley, and I have a show today, and I'm just here, but tell me about you. What are you doing?" And I don't know, it seems to work.
Hmm.
It's hard to do
Right.
because most of us artists are kind of shy
Exactly. Yeah.
and introverted, and when it comes to our art, it's like, yeah, you can look at that and don't look at me.
Right.
Just owning it and being solid and just keep practicing. I mean, even if you stumble and blush and get at a loss for words,
Right.
just keep trying. That person will walk away and go, "Oh, okay," but
Hmm.
another person will walk up, and that's another opportunity.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. No, that's good for me too, because I definitely shy away from the person interaction, but I am getting better at it. I'll say that.
Takes a lot of
Yeah,
practice.
absolutely. I've been doing plein air shows for about 9 years, and it's so tempting every time to kind of retreat from the spotlight in that way. So yeah, that's a
And that's a great opportunity because people love to watch you paint, and people will come up and talk to you. That's happened to me
hmm.
when I do plein air. And I've had people even like offer to buy my unfinished painting right off my, lap right there. And I'm
Yeah.
like, well, no, I'm not giving it to you for $20, so that's okay, but thank you.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, that's another way they try to get you to give you a deal because like yeah, they're the first person to offer you a bit of cash for it. So yeah, I've
Right.
definitely had to kind of turn people away from that. But yeah, that's also another opportunity to invite people to check out like your website or whatever else you have going on.
In your Instagram feed.
Right. Hmm. So yeah, that's another good opportunity to make a connection there. So yeah, very cool.
I'm always handing people cards, and I actually have cards printed. I use
Oh
moo.com,
yeah, those are
and you
great.
can actually print your artwork on them.
Hmm.
And you can print 50 different cards in one order. So you could have 50 different paintings.
Yep.
And I usually like hand a handful of them to people and say, pick the one you
Oh,
like.
awesome.
And people are like, "Oh my gosh." And then they'll say one, they're like, "Well, I really like that other one too." I'm like, take two. Hang it on your fridge, give it to a
Right.
friend.
Yeah.
And it's kind of fun to do that. So that also just kind of notches you up. They're like, "Wow, these are really high quality." And yeah, they do cost like 50 cents a piece, but I think it's worth it when you hand somebody something and then they get to choose which one they like most. And you can kind of say, "Okay, yeah, a lot of people like that fish painting I did."
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's another good way to just do like a little bit of a covert little market research and be like, oh, which one do people like as much? And maybe I'll make a print of that one or something like that. So
Exactly. And yeah, and it's pretty consistent. People tend to like the same ones. So yeah, it's kind of a covert way. I like that.
yeah, exactly. Well, cool. Yeah, I think we covered it. Yeah, one thing that maybe people who are watching this maybe on the replay as well, if you guys have an idea of what's something that maybe we miss of an idea to raise the value in your own work, or also an experience where you guys felt like you undervalued your work, that'd be kind of fun to hear stories of that as well. And maybe some interesting discussion will come from that. Yeah, go ahead and leave those in the comments here below. This was fun. Thanks, Jill, for coming on and helping me discuss this.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. It was great.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead and leave us a comment below, and I'll talk to y'all soon. All right. Bye, Jill.